Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of CCIR Student Research Spotlight. I'm your host, Nell, and today I'm welcoming Deetya, who is a senior studying in India. And during her time with CCIR, she worked with Dr. Damien Pituala Garcia on a project looking at mathematical modelling of simple atomic clock and understanding the Ramsey sequence for precision and future scope of such clocks, which sounds complicated and very interesting. So welcome, Deetya. It's a pleasure to have you and to meet you today.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Deetya and I'm from Chennai, a city in India, and I'm a high school student who's currently pursuing her IB diploma at the Indian Public School. And over the past winter, I've been working on a research project with CCIR. The course I took was quantum physics, and my mentor was Dr. Damien Petrola Garcia from the University of Cambridge, and my teaching assistant was with Miss Ruhi from the University of Waterloo at Canada.
Amazing. So please could you tell us about your project? Give us an overview of what it means and also how you came to choosing to study this.
Okay, so I did the Future Scholars Program with CCIR, and I'd actually like to start by thanking both my mentor and my teaching assistant because they were amazing. They were able to communicate a lot of their knowledge, and the first thing was they believed in my potential, which got me a long way through this whole course. So I came to know about this program from one of my seniors in the school. Her name was Aditi Tandil, who I'd really like to thank for because she introduced me to this. But regarding my project, uh, so personally, my favorite subject in high school is physics. And I think that kind of crawled along with my deep passion for research. So in the future, I think I'd like to pursue aerospace engineering. Not because it's a very innovative field or because of my fascination with technology, but because I think it's a field that holds immense potential to actually improve people's lives on Earth. And a note that my interest for the Future Scholar program was because of my deep passion for research. And I took quantum physics because I feel like when it comes to space, there's a lot to explore, a lot of mysteries, and a lot of things that have been left unexplored. And unlike classical physics, quantum physics is a field that doesn't follow the regular rules or regular protocols that you would generally study in high school. And my interest in both quantum physics and aerospace comes from a very shared vision of being able to use all advanced technology to solve real world problems. And I feel like both these fields have a good potential to improve people's lives. So that's that. And moving on to my project. So the first thing that I did in my course was it was a 14-week long course, 14 to 16 weeks course. So I was put along with three other students from around the world. So a lot of diversity, and it was amazing to meet them. It was Alp, Almina, and Sienna, who I like to mention. So for about the first 6 to 8 weeks of my course, we were talking. We introduced each other, and then we were talking about the quantum physics, the basics of it, what will be covered over the course. And I was able to complete the Feynman Volume 3 lectures. We were given the link from Caltech, so we were able to study through that. And I think that's a higher level course book prescribed. So I definitely found it a bit difficult at start, but overall I think it went pretty smooth because my professor and my teaching assistant were able to like break it down and really connect the concepts with real world situations and examples. So it was pretty fine after a point. And about the next 7 weeks, we researched on a bit of topics, what we liked, where the quantum field was applied, the real world application, future applications, and we kind of really brainstormed both as a group and individually to come up with topics that you could possibly research on. And then we narrowed it down a bit. And my paper was on the mathematical modeling of an atomic clock to help detect gravitational redshifts. So we first made an outline for this paper, and initially I wanted to go with gravitational waves. But since that was a bit complicated and it required a lot of mathematical and physical understanding, my teaching assistant helped me narrow it down and told me to go about with like redshift, which I actually found really easy at the end. So I think that was a good suggestion that was given to me through this course. And this was also my first time writing like a proper research paper. and this was a review article. So Dr. Damien had given me multiple corrections on how to write even my grammatical parts. So I think that was a really helpful thing that he did. And he taught me to use like Overleaf. I think that's a website online to draft professional research papers. So that's one good thing that I learned out of the course. And so we did the outline, the introduction, the background, and a few of the topics that were covered was gravitational redshift. We overlooked Einstein's relativity theory, how the redshift occurs. So my paper kind of covers it in this order: how the redshift occurs, and then the Pound-Rebecca experiment, two ways that the redshift can occur. Then we overlooked superposition, quantum numbers, and towards the end of the paper, it covers a very important protocol known as Ramsey protocol, where actually two microwave waves, when you kind of understand the concept, you kind of get to know that two microwave waves are sent through a special atom to ensure that the precision of the atomic clock is improved. And that's a new discovery in the recent few years because atomic clocks, as such, are very complicated. They need to be placed in. Okay, so basically, let me start off with what it is. So, it's an instrument used to measure timekeeping devices. It's like a timekeeping device, but a more precise one used in space. And the thing about this clock is that it uses atoms, so like metallic atoms. So the two main atoms are cesium and rubidium because these atoms are very stable. And because of their stability and their ability to fit into a specific frequency, these two atoms are used in atomic clocks very frequently. And when we look into that, I also covered why other metals could not be used. And once I learned about that, I was able to connect it with superposition. So, superposition is basically the ability to exist in two states at once. So, I could be here and I could probably be next to somebody at the same time. I mean, it
Wow.
sounds impossible, but like I said, in quantum physics, it is practically possible. So, that's superposition. And by connecting these concepts in an atomic clock, I modeled a very simple mathematical model of one. And that was pretty much my paper.
Incredible. I mean, there's so much to unpack there. I mean, I was going to ask you what is an atomic clock, but I think you kind of explained that.
Yeah.
Sounds really fascinating, and how amazing that you were able to, look at this for 7 to 14 weeks. You've already kind of touched upon what you learned in terms of research, but I was wondering if you could expand on that, please, and let us know, because you said you have a deep passion for research. I'm curious as to know where that came from, where that stemmed from, and also, yeah, more broadly, how you feel like being a part of CCIR has enriched that passion and where you think it might take you in the future.
Okay, so my interest for research, I never thought I would actually have it in the first place, but once I started doing my IB diploma, I think that was something that you have to like take upon, something that you're compelled to do. But when you think of it as a non-compellment, when you actually start doing it out of your own interest,
Mm.
you start to like have a passion towards it. So I think looking at articles, reading through articles, reading discoveries, or like the UN. So I'm a model UN debater and I have a good passion for that. So every morning when I wake up, I have a habit of looking at the UN page, or it's a TED talk. It kind of switches on days, but from there you look at things that happen in the world, how the world changes on a daily basis, new technologies, new innovations that come into place, and really what's the new news of the day. So from that, I feel like when you look at that specific page, that's what provoked my interest for researching on certain topics. And it's not only because of my interest in physics, it's even biology and even other subjects that I do like to research on. Before I joined the course as such, I was researching on algae
Okay.
for like, yeah, for different purposes. It was something I found in my neighborhood, a personal problem that I found in my neighborhood. And so I started researching on how algae could remove like ions and things like that. And that's really how I got into the field of research as such. And when it comes to working with CCIR, it's one of the best experiences I've had.
I'm
I
so
think that
glad.
has to be jotted down. It's like one of the best because the course goes in a very smooth way. The way that it's made, the way that it's framed, the resources that you're provided with, And I think even if you do miss a few sessions, you're still able to compensate it. When you need extra help, they're always available. And when it comes to the publishing, which is like such an important part of the research paper, I think they provide really, really good places to publish your papers. And they do review your papers too before you get it published. So I feel like that's really amazing. In the future, I don't know if I would like to, continue with quantum physics as such, but I do want to research on aerospace. So maybe I might want to link aerospace with quantum physics, who knows? But since entering university next year, I think I'll just keep the future for the future.
Sure, absolutely. But it's great to hear that you've taken so much from CCIR and that hopefully it will set you up on a good path for future research. I'm really pleased to hear that. I mean, yeah, within that, it sounds like you've had such a wonderful relationship with the professors you're working with your mentors, but also with the other students. You mentioned there were two other people on your course.
Three other people,
Three
and
other people.
yeah, I
Yeah.
really like that because it was a lot of perspective, a lot of ideas, a lot of collaboration that was involved when you actually work with other people who have like a like mindset. So that's something I really, really enjoyed through the course. Like I wouldn't have thought of it, but another person in the course would have been like, "Hey, that's wrong," and that's like amazing when you work as a group or a team.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. It's very important. And that's such a lovely kind of precursor to university where hopefully
Yeah.
you're surrounded by lots more like-minded people interested in the same thing. I'm really pleased that was your experience. So, I mean, it sounds like a very overwhelmingly positive thing. I'm wondering, you've also already mentioned a couple of the challenges of starting out, working in this academic way that maybe you weren't used to begin with. But what were sort of some more challenges you felt you came across along the way, and how did you overcome them, and what support were you given?
Okay, so a few of the challenges I came physically when you look at drafting the paper. I think for someone who drafts paper for the first time, you don't have an idea of what goes into what and what contents go in, what's supposed to go out, how things are supposed to be labeled. So a lot of the technical parts of it, I think on that aspect, um, CCIR had given me like extra sessions with my mentor or my TA. So I was given the option, whoever I was comfortable with, to go along. And after my course, like it's 1 hour a week, 1 hour
Okay.
with my TA and 1 hour with my mentor. So additionally, if I do need help with like the drafting or anything as such, I was allowed to take 1 extra hour with my mentor and an extra hour with my TA. So I found that very helpful. And I used a lot of my extra hours towards the end of the course when I was finishing up my paper. So they'd
Mhm.
sit with me on the most random times, early in the morning, in the night. I think they were very flexible, so that was very helpful. And when it comes to the research part, I feel like when it comes to quantum physics as such, you really have to narrow down to one specific topic. So that's one of the major challenges that I had to come across because it's
Yeah.
such a wide field, it's such a vast field. And when I looked into the atomic clock as such, my first thing was so vague. I was about to just go with superposition and how superposition helps to detect gravitational waves. And it was such a broad topic. When it comes to superposition, there are so many things you can explore. You can also explore topics such as entanglement and de Broglie's wavelength. There are so many minor topics that you can explore within one specific topic in quantum physics. So to actually, and since I didn't have that much of a knowledge, that vast of a knowledge, I think it was really my teaching assistant who helped me narrow it down to go along with gravitational redshift instead of gravitational waves. So for me to obtain that clarity before I actually went across with my research, I think clarity is like something you need to have when you research. When you know this is what you're going to do, you know how to format your paper and you know what goes into the paper and what is excluded or what doesn't go in. And when you don't have that clarity, it becomes like a jumble of information from all parts of the just all parts of the web. And for someone who's reading it as a third person, when you write a research paper, I think it's important that the third person is able to understand what actually happens in it. So it should go as a flow. Or someone who has no knowledge on quantum physics or some basic knowledge, when they look at my paper, they should be like, oh, okay, so this is what it is. And at the end of the paper, they should have some knowledge gained from it. So, like, that's the goal when you do a research paper, especially a review paper. Since I didn't actually experimentally do something and it was a review article, I feel like the whole aim of the paper was to provide that knowledge to the person. So to clearly communicate that in my paper was something I found difficult in the start, but after I think 2 sessions, I definitely came across came over it. So that was that.
Amazing. Yeah, because I'm imagining in order to have that clarity, you've got to have a certain confidence in what you're doing, haven't you? And
Yeah,
your ideas. So, yeah, do you feel like you gained confidence throughout this process? Do you feel
of
like,
course.
yeah, do you feel, yeah, personally, how do you feel like this is what this has taught you, maybe this whole process?
I think it's a different feel when you complete your paper, and then when you're about to give it for publishing and you just look at it and you see the long wave that you've come across, like the whole process. I mean, it's hard when you go through it, but when the result comes, it just feels amazing to first look at the paper, and like it's a good thing. It's a good feeling. But I think at the end of my paper, I was very confident with what I wrote. And to build that confidence, I think it was the people around me and the team which helped me. But aside from that, when I did look at my paper at the end of the course, I was very happy with it. I was personally happy with what went in, how it was, the way it was framed, and everything.
Oh, that's really nice to hear. Could you tell us a little bit more about your journey to get to CCIR, how you found the application process, and maybe what you wish you knew before applying, if anything at all?
What I wish I knew before applying, I don't think much. I don't really think there was much I wish I knew, but the application process, I'm not sure, but I think I was asked to write an essay, like a short essay. So I wrote one like how I would submit to one of my universities, like that. I wrote an essay on something that actually like pushed me around on my daily basis. So and how research was like something that keeps running on my head. So even when I'm doing something normally or like some daily activity, I'm like, oh, that's cool. And I look at a bottle of bleach, I turn it back, I'm like, why is that ingredient in the bleach? So like that, there's random questions that really come to your head out of nowhere. And when you actually think about it, there's so much potential to research on so many things around you. Even if you just take a dress I'm wearing, I'm like, why is this made up of nylon, and why is there cotton in it? Why can't it be made of something else? So there's so many topics you can research on. And when it came to the application process, I think it was a pretty challenging application, but I was asked to give a short interview. And so I was asked to give my details, my school I was studying, the general process,
Yeah.
and then an essay, like I had mentioned. And after that, I think I was given an interview. So I was asked to pick the courses that I would like to do. So what I'd favor to research on. And I'm pretty sure I gave my options as aerophysics, astrophysics, quantum physics, and neuroscience. And I was happy going with either of the three options. And I got into the quantum physics course. So after that, I was given an interview where I was just asked to like talk about what I was doing, anything research related, my passion, or any other extracurriculars I'm doing. Just a thing about me, to getting to know me, like getting to know me. And then I was asked to solve a mathematical problem on probability. So the funny thing is that I wasn't able to solve the problem completely. Like I was able to solve three-fourths of the problem, and I got stuck in the end. But the interviewer, she was obviously able to explain it to me, and that was fascinating because I didn't expect like someone to like explain it to me once I went wrong. So
Yeah.
like she explained it to me, and then I understood. And after that application process, I think I received a mail saying I was accepted. That was like so shocking. I woke up and like I opened my laptop just to look at what I was supposed to do for the day, and it's like a mail from CCIR and your notifications. And I was like, oh my god! I was so excited. I was jumping around, and I was given a STEM scholarship. So I think that was really helpful when pursuing research. So I think that was really helpful on the financial basis too.
Mm.
So that was the whole process.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I mean it's like a little kind of model of what it's like applying to Cambridge University in
Yeah,
general. Really great that you've had that experience. And it's nice to hear as
experience.
well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's nice to hear that there was that financial support as well through the program. That's good. And
Yeah.
with that, how did you find managing sort of school and doing CCIR at the same time? How did you find your time management and how did you kind of structure your daily life? Because it's quite a big commitment, isn't it? Well, it's a very big commitment. It's a huge chunk of time and a lot of effort and something that you want to dedicate time to. So how did you find that?
I think towards the start of the course, I didn't find it as that big of a deal because I had to like it was basically like studying another subject, just
Yeah.
an extra subject to your daily
Okay.
subjects.
Yeah.
So I would devote like an hour a week, like on the weekends, 1 hour for my mentor session, 1 hour for my TA sessions, and every day in the morning I'd go through the videos. We were allowed to watch the videos again, so I found that really nice.
Yeah.
Um, so I would go through the videos and then jot down any questions I'd have, or go through my lectures for the day, make my notes, and understand it my way. So like my way of processing the information. And then we weren't given much homework, but I think studying the course material as such was a very big homework in this one because the Feynman lectures, they're really long. There's about, I think, 22 chapters. So like I take one chapter or like 1.5 chapters a week, and it's a lot of information to process. So
Mm.
every morning when I wake up, I think that's 1 hour I devote to like studying the lectures. And by like the seventh or eighth week, I was able to do two chapters every day, like every week, sorry, two chapters every week. So by the seventh week, I was able to complete the lectures, seventh or eighth week. So
Okay.
after that, I devote an hour a day, or like half an hour a day, to consistently work on my project, drafting it, improving it, adding, removing information, formulas, and any mathematical parts. So sometimes you don't really have to research, like write your research paper. Sometimes it's just half an hour a day reading through articles, half an hour a day of solving like questions to improve your knowledge on the subject. So it kind of shifts. It shifts on what I'm doing, but I make sure I dedicate like half an hour a day minimum to CCIR's homework or coursework.
Yeah, that's
So I
quite
do, yeah. So I do that before my school started
good.
because after school I've got my school stuff to deal with. So I do that before school started. And if I ever had to like do my research paper, I'm kind of a night owl, so I'd sit overnight and do that. But yeah, that's how I. It was pretty flexible.
That's good to hear. It sounds like that's a good idea, and to do it in the morning. And I mean, everybody works differently, but that does sound quite manageable, and it's useful to hear that that's the tactic that you employed. Do you have any other kind of tips to people who might be considering applying to CCIR, both in terms of the application process and once you're actually on the program? What would your advice be?
I feel like before you start your application process, it's important that you keep your things ready because you don't want to like be pushing it to the last minute. I feel like that's something important. Like keep it ready, keep it all ready. Like search. I think CCIR releases like when the summer sessions are going to start, like like a month prior at least. So I feel like keeping all your course materials ready at the earliest is like one really good thing, and it gives you enough time to actually brainstorm and write a good essay. So that being that, and when it comes to research, I feel like even if you're a first time researcher, you don't actually have to have that kind of fear or like, what if I don't research a good paper? Like, I think at the end of the day, you're going to gain a lot of knowledge, a lot of new learnings, and a lot of new perspectives and aspects from the whole entire course. And it's almost like 3 months. So you've got ample time to actually make a lot of mistakes and learn from it. Like if you make this mistake this morning, you're gonna have enough time to like correct it the next day. So it's a lot of space and time that's given for you to actually process what you're doing. So I feel like it's a really good thing to apply for. It's a different experience, and when it comes to research as such, I feel like it's amazing. Like why wouldn't someone want to do it? So yeah,
So go for it, is what you're saying.
yeah, let's go for it.
Incredible.
Like
Okay.
give it a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you never know unless you try, do you? So, um,
Yeah.
okay, unless there's anything else you would like to add, I want to ask you overall, what do you think the number one thing that you've learned from being with CCR is? What is it you're going to take away from this whole experience?
Um, so I think so. There's famous brand called Nike or Nike. I'm not sure how everyone pronounces it, but like their motto is just do it. And I
Mhm.
think I'd stick to that for CCIR too. Like, just do it. You're gonna be able to get through it. So I think one main learning from CCIR I had is that when new experiences come your way, um, I don't think you have to be hesitant, or like you can always ask for help. That's one amazing thing I learned. And in terms of the technicality or the research, I feel like there's always a lot of knowledge that you can keep developing, and there's always people around you who are going to help you develop that. You're always going to get the support you want, at least when you try for it. So I think that's one amazing thing that I got out of it.
That's
Like
incredibly.
something that would carry me a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that yeah, that's what you've taken from the experience. How fantastic.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, or is that all good for you?
I think that's all good.
Amazing. Okay, then it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, Deetya. Thank you so much, and I wish
Thank
you
you.
all the best going forward with your future research.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, bye.